The best employees typically don't get fired. And that's been my mindset ever since. I'm like, the best employees don't let go. The best employees don't mutually separate. But the real estate thing was, what can I do that was gonna make me available? What can I do that was gonna give me the freedom?
How did that work? I'm just curious.
I had some other jobs between the wine biz. I sold cars, I sold Home Pro.
Tell me a little bit about portfolio and about your team.
I wanted to create a one-stop shop approach to real estate. The reason I got into real estate was because I wanted freedom.
Welcome to The Balanced Broker. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we have a very special guest. He is one of my mentors. I just told him from afar. This is Beaux Olaiya. He is somebody who is really living the American dream. And I brought him on today because obviously the show is about balancing a successful real estate career and having a successful personal life. And the keys to that success, what are some valuable tips and insights to a real estate career? So he, I was tasked with making a list of people who I would like to bring on the podcast. And he has always been number one at the top of my list. And you're going to find out why. So let's get talking to Beaux.
Oh my God. Well, thank you for the kind and generous words, for sure. By no means did I ever would think I'd hear you call me your mentor, boy. But damn, I don't
Are you
know
kidding me? Did you hear what you just said about the whole thing? I just learned so much from you in like the past 2 minutes.
Thank you.
I should write it down, but I'm going to
You're
remember
good,
it.
you're
I'm going to
good.
remember it. We'll talk about it more.
I appreciate that because I share the same sentiments about you. I've been watching you and praising you from a distance and close. And I like to look at successful people and I say, how are they doing it?
Right.
Like, what are they doing? Like, they just, you don't wake up at the top, right? And that's why I'm, so when I see you and your sister and just the way you ladies navigate, your life and your business and just how your reputation precedes itself, what people say about you align with who you really are. And that's really tough.
And that's the thing that you see, I think, these personas of people on Instagram and Facebook, and they're selling so much and they're doing so much. And then you meet them and you're like, really, this is the guy?
That ain't it.
This is the guy who's really, but you have always been, first of all, super, super supportive. So we were just talking about how we first met, and we've got mutual family, friends, and everything.
Yeah, your husband.
My husband has known you because you knew it was cousin Tariq from way back when, and we'll get into your career before the real estate career. But I came to your open house, and you remember the address.
Yep, 5017 Milam.
That's right, in like Knox Henderson.
Yeah, M Street.
And man, it was like a party. I mean, it was a straight up party. You had the DJ going, you had the champagne flowing. It was like live. And I'm like, what is it, like 4 o'clock? And it was such a great party. Yeah. I learned so much just that day from your broker open.
Thank you.
That you could really like throw a party like that and have that many people show up and really get some amazing content out of that. And you ended up selling that, right?
To someone that was at the open house. So what I was trying to create was
an open house buyer.
Yeah, I wanted someone to feel like they could do this. I wanted someone to walk through the home and be like, you know what? It's Sunday. I can do this. Like I can create this.
This is the party at my house. Yeah.
And a gentleman that walked through that home that day ended up buying the house because I feel like he saw the vision and he saw himself, living that life. And, I'm not going to sit here and beat on my chest. It worked. It was a gamble. I wanted to put, myself in the buyer's shoes. It's Sunday, it's, M Street, like if I had a gathering, like how would it be? So it's a creative side of the marketing that I enjoy. Obviously, I went to school. I have a marketing degree from University of Texas at Arlington, and just the creative side. I like to, put myself in the buyer's shoe.
It is just that you are absolutely an innovator, which is why I followed you even before I met you that day, and I'm like, this dude does some stuff that's really cool and it's different. And so it's kind of that marketing background that you have. But it's true when you throw a broker open, it's like, okay, what am I doing this for? I'm trying to get people to walk through the door. Maybe they have a buyer or whatever. But if you go in with that mindset, let me create a vibe that a buyer themselves can see themselves in, like living in this home. Yeah. I think that really should be the goal, not how many brokers can I get through this door.
Correct. Because it's live, they feel it, they can't unsee it, they see the people, they see the energy. And, of course, if they can afford it, or if they're anywhere close, they'll figure it out. you know. So it was it was a good one. I think that listing itself was one of the ones that kind of put me on the map, I would say.
What was the price point?
It was 1 million.
And at that point, 1 million, is like it's 2.5, 3 million today.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like,
it is.
Yeah.
So it was, I appreciate the
years ago.
opportunity, for my the seller who gave me the opportunity, but I worked on that one, girl.
I remember.
It was work. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed it. You know, I'm a worker. I came to this country. I didn't come here to fail.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. I'm very
so-
interested in that story. And I mentioned in the intro that, you're living the American dream. So tell us the story. What was childhood like? How did you get here? Why did you come here?
Yeah.
And is it everything you thought it was going to be?
Wow.
And more? Or
So
take us back to Beaux.
Okay. I was born April 30th, 1979, at Herman Hospital in Houston. My parents came here from Nigeria.
Houston.
Yeah, my parents came here from Nigeria to get an education. My dad, went to school. He has a PhD in microbiology. My mom came here for nutrition. She ended up working for UNICEF, retired there. But I was born here.
Oh, wow.
9 months after I was born, my parents moved back to Nigeria. So I'm fortunate to be an American citizen. I grew up in Nigeria. I went to a military high school there. Different story. My parents really wanted to instill discipline in us. I went to military high school. I graduated high school at 16 in Nigeria. Went to Canada for a year. Worked. Took a year off. I wanted to go to school in Canada. I wanted to go to University of Toronto, Ryerson Polytechnic, but it was just so expensive.
Why Canada?
My uncle had come home to visit Nigeria, and quickly got a passport real quick, and my dad was like, "Hey, you leaving in 2 days?" So
No way.
I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to my friends. So
Sounds
Canada,
like a lot of my cousins.
yeah. So I went to Canada, and I'm not gonna lie, Canada was I was depressed. I missed home. I missed my mom. I missed my dad.
Wait, you were 16?
I was 16.
Oh my gosh.
So I lived in Canada for a year. My first job, I sold ice cream in Canada. I drove one of those, ice cream tricycles with a little box, that I would go pick up my ice cream and my route. I would go.
You were an ice cream man?
I was that guy. I sold ice
A
cream.
6'7" ice cream man?
Yeah, I was selling ice cream in
6'7".
Canada. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew sales was for me.
You were selling ice to bring
Yeah.
Eskimos.
So I did that, and I worked Goodwill. It's the first time I got terminated. So that I learned real fast. But I went to Canada for a year. I didn't like it, so my parents sent me here to Texas, where I was born. I went back to high school one more year at Lamar in Arlington, so my age can catch up to me, and so I can kind of learn the American system before I got into college. So
how did that work? I'm just curious. So you went back, so you graduated there, you're already done, and then you were like, let me just do high school for a year just so I can get acclimated, understand what my environment is, the people here.
So
How was that culture shock?
It was tough. Like, it was tough. My first Texas was tough. It was man, I wanted to go back home.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back home. I did not enjoy it at all.
Who were you here with?
My dad's roommate, when he went to school here, he has 2 kids, one my age and one younger. So I lived with them, and I went to school with them in high school.
Wow.
So that was a good situation, but I just missed home so much. And I don't think it really clicked till I moved out and I moved into the dorms at UTA. And I moved into dorms, I met a lot of people who were just like me. Indians, Pakistani people, Mexicans, Nigerians, people from Ghana. I knew I was not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, oh, okay,
The immigrant journey.
The immigrant journey.
Yeah.
So that was a very big stepping point, in me accepting the fact that, okay, I'm here to stay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not alone. I have some other people who are struggling, but my parents supported me. They paid for everything, like I worked.
Amazing. Yeah.
I worked because I wanted to have my own money. I don't like asking people for stuff, so I worked. I worked a lot. I worked at a financial aid office. I worked at Chili's. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch, all at the same time.
Yeah.
I did that. Then
so you were juggling like three jobs, and you were going to school.
Yes, and I started as a chemistry major. I wanted to be a chemist. chemical engineering is what I started with. Then my counselor was like, man, you're a people person.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't, you know, even though you're good and you're smart, you should do something with people. You know, but back home, everybody was like, oh, you know, my uncle was a CFO for Mobil Oil in Houston. So I was like, you know, I'm going to go work with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to graduate, I'm going to go work with him. Then at that point in time, you know, information systems was also like a big deal. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do chemistry. Then I'm going to do like a minor in IS. So my graduating semester, I decided not to graduate with those degrees and I switched to marketing.
Wow.
So I went through and I was like, you know what? I don't see myself behind a computer. I don't see myself being a chemist. Like I'm doing these because of money or because of family wanting me to do it.
Family wanting you to do it.
What
The
does-
typical immigrant, you have to be a doctor, an engineer, you know, you've got to be, or a lawyer or something like that. You do it to fulfill. So how did your parents react to that switch? Did you tell them even that you were changing
I
your
did.
major? Okay.
I did, you know, because it was time to send out like graduation announcements. Yeah.
And you
And
graduated.
I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, like
Yeah.
I already had enough credits in business. So I'm like, you know what, marketing, I took some marketing electives, you know, on the way. So I was like, marketing is what I want to do. So I switched to marketing and it was the best thing I ever did, you know, because it's I think the whole, you know, it's a people business. You know, everything you do is about people and marketing is about, you know, it's about communicating an idea. It's about identifying, you know, it's identifying your niche. It's identifying your crowd and speaking the language. You know, who am I talking to and what are they hearing me say?
Right.
Right. And I feel like marketing is a lot about communication, right? I feel like it's a lot about, it's identifying your audience and speaking the language of your audience. That's what I meant to say. So marketing just came natural to me because when I moved here, you know, I wanted to be accepted, right? I really, really wanted to be accepted. I didn't want to go back home because I felt like going back home was going to be considered a failure.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, you know, how can I be accepted? And I was like, you know what, the quickest way to be accepted to me is to serve. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what can I bring to this group of people that keep inviting me out to stuff? Like, you know, I got to let them know that I'm a good person. I was raised right. I'm not going to use people. I'm going to be respectful. So I just leaned on that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm going to lean on what I know, you know, and I'm just going to go hard with that.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, 20 something years later, being a real estate agent, I'm realizing that those relationships that I formed back then by serving,
Right.
you know, it's now, you know, it's coming back around, it's coming to fruition.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people that I'm selling to or selling for or helping buy these days are all the relationships I've formed since I've
The
got
people who knew you
Yeah.
and trust you
Yeah.
because you built that trust.
Yeah,
Because
but-
you spoke their language.
Yeah,
Right.
you know, which
you
was
learned
service.
how to
You know,
assimilate.
yeah.
Service.
So my thing was, you know, I've accepted my lows. You know, I'm a man of many mistakes. You know, but I think a lot of my friends and family and sphere of influence, they've seen me grow. You know, they've seen me from when I got here to the mistakes, to trying to figure it out, and to kind of owning it and kind of coming up and just kind of being who I am today. So I, you know, obviously I thank my parents for the discipline and, you know, the way they raised me. And I'm so thankful I grew up in Nigeria,
yeah.
you know, because coming over here to this country, I was like, man, you guys have so many opportunities and so many resources. You're telling me that all I have to do is work hard and be a good person and I can have this. That's the way I look at it.
Isn't that amazing?
We don't have that back home.
Isn't that amazing? It blows my mind sometimes, you know, when, you know, people, they come from good families, they're born and raised here, and they just can't figure out how to make it work. And I'm like, you got everything at your, I mean, my parents came here, same thing, not a dollar to their name. My dad escaped, you know, a civil war in Lebanon. My mom came here from Trinidad, but barely had shoes on her feet and grew, you know, all of this and raised all of us. And I'm just like, I just don't understand. You have every tool. What's the excuse? What is your excuse? You know?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know what it is, you know, and I keep trying to figure it out, but it's not for me to figure out.
Yeah.
You know, like I need to worry about me and,
Right.
you know, the people I surround myself with and the people who look up to me, most importantly, my family. But I'm like, I don't get it, you know, with a lot of, you know, the mindset of the American culture. Like I'm thankful to be here.
Yes.
By no means am I talking down, and I'm an American. I was born here.
Right.
You know, but I see this country as a place of opportunity. I see this place as a, you know, if you have your head on straight and, you know, people trust you, and you do as you do what you say you're gonna do, and you work hard, the sky is the limit. You know, I by no means am I considering myself a success, because I think the word success, when you use it to yourself, I think it sounds a little arrogant. You know, but personally, you know, I think I've come a long way, and I hope this is not, you know, the top. You know, I feel like I have a lot more to do and get.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the journey to real estate, right? Because, you know, you're graduating with the marketing degree, and, you know, a minor in chemistry.
Chemistry was what I wanted.
And
Chemical
IS,
engineering.
information systems. That's crazy.
I didn't graduate with that. I almost did. I was like, I'm not doing that.
But I mean, that was the path. And then what was the first job out of college? So you talked a little bit about, you know, there were some struggles to get here. Tell me about that journey to get here. How did you end up in real estate? My
first job, I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch.
Right.
I was a manager at Abercrombie and Fitch at the Parks Mall. I did that, and I went to Fossil.
At the Parks Mall?
Parks Mall,
Arlington?
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
I did that while I was in college, so when I graduated college, I stayed there. It was convenient, you know, like I already got the job, I enjoyed it, I loved the people I worked with. Well, I didn't work out, and, you know, I went to Fossil, you know, ended up leaving. Then I went to, I didn't have a job for a little bit, you know, and I went and worked at Chili's at the airport.
At the airport?
Yeah, I had worked at Chili's street side in Cooper in Arlington. Then I had a friend who worked at Chili's at the airport, like, you can make some good money over here, bro. Like, you know, so I went there, and I worked there for a little bit. Then I realized, I'm like, man, you didn't come to this country and get a college degree
to work at Chili's.
To work at Chili's.
Yeah.
You know, like the self-talk, you know. So I got a job at Republic National Distributing Company. I worked for a wine and liquor distributor.
Right. And this is how you met my cousin.
Yes, Tariq. I was his merchandiser. You know, my sales guy would ship the wine in, and I would go stock it.
Yeah.
And then I remember, I'm like, man, I got to do more than this. But, you know, my buddy was like, hey, just get in.
Yeah. Just get your foot in the door.
With your personality and your hard work, just get in and, you know, just ride it. Which I did. I got promoted, and I did that for about 8 years.
8 years?
8 years, 2005 to 2013. I did that. Then
so you know your wines.
I do, maybe a little too much, you know, but I do know some of my wine. But
comes in handy.
Yeah, you know, so it was a sales job. It was a business-to-business job. You know, I had to go to store managers, you know, store owners.
Business, right.
And I had to go form a relationship. I had to have, you know, product knowledge, and I had to learn how to build rapport. You know?
Okay.
Just like anything else.
Relationships,
sales.
Product knowledge, rapport.
You know, so
I
knew that's what I had to do, you know. I lean more on the rapport side than product knowledge, you know, but eventually, you know, for me to get the positions I wanted, I had to know my stuff. So I took it more seriously, you know, but the industry, you know, like we were all, you know, one drink away from being a legal alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
you got to drink in that industry.
You got to drink, you know, you got to get up in the morning and do tasting, and, you know, wine and Colgate, no mix, you know, you know, so, you know, I did that for 8 years, and, you know, moved on from there. I went into the car business. I sold cars.
So was that the kind of the tipping point for you? Was kind of like, okay, I can't continue on like this. It was too much drinking.
Part of that, too much drinking. It was, you know, it was just time to move on. Yeah. You know, it didn't work out. You know,
you came, you saw, you conquered.
I was let go. You know, I was let go, and I took it personal.
Yeah.
You know, I took it personal.
Yeah, that hurts.
It hurts. You know, I took it personal, but, you know, 45-year-old Beaux looking back now, you know, I'm like, you know what? The best employees typically don't get fired. You know, and that's been my mindset ever since. I'm like, the best employees don't let go. The best employees don't mutually separate.
I got fired for a reason. What was that reason?
Yeah. You know, instead of me to be upset.
Yeah.
You know, let me like.
Do some introspection.
You know, yeah. And that's huge. And, you know, so I was like, you know what? So that was the point. I was like, you know what, man?
But not many people can do that. You know, is that kind of
I was
at the point at that time? I mean, did you do that introspection, or what?
Not immediately.
Not immediately.
Immediately, I was angry. You know, I was bitter. You know, I was like, but then I took a step back, and I was like, Beau, like, shut up. Like, did you give it your best, or did you just ride it? You know, and I couldn't answer. I could answer it properly. I did not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I deserve to, you know, some part of it I deserve to let go. But I was like, you know what? I took it personal, and I vowed, you know, that I was never going to be in that position again. I made a promise to myself, you know, months, maybe a year afterwards. I was like, I need to get into something that I'm passionate about, something that I want to get up for every morning, something that's just more than a paycheck. You know, I need to do something, you know, that allows me to be me all the time.
Yeah.
You know? And the reason I got into real estate was because I wanted freedom. You know, I have a 16-year-old daughter, Vanessa. She'll be 17. She lives in Austin. And when she was born, I was all over the place, you know, party boy, you know, running around, you know, I was a sheep running around trying to be like people that, you know, I wasn't hanging out. I wasn't living the life that I felt like I should live, right? I wasn't living the life that my mother and my parents, not even what they expected of me. I wasn't living the life that I felt like I deserved to live. I wasn't
But that honored them, right?
Yeah,
and
you
their
know.
sacrifices.
And honored my, you know, my last name. You know, my parents always tell me, you know, I don't care what you do, but do not embarrass that last name because you didn't do anything to earn it.
That's right.
You were born into it. And that stuck. So I was like, man, you know, I had some other jobs between the, you know, wine biz, you know, I sold cars, I sold Home Pro, you know, I sold.
You did home, so you know Home Pro.
Oh, yeah,
inside
yeah. I
out.
did low voltage and all that. But the real estate thing was, I'm like, what can I do that was going to make me available? What can I do that was going to give me the freedom, you know, to be the father that I need to be? You know, I remember I met my wife when I was selling cars. And I remember this question. She said, what do you want to do when you grow up? I said, what?
How old were you at that point?
I met my wife 10 years ago, November 23rd.
So you were 35. You were
I was 35.
And she said, when you grow up, what do you want to be?
And I said, what? Here she goes. These girls trying to change me. I barely even know her. She's already trying to control my life, but I couldn't unhear it, right? Because I would make, you know, I was like, I want to do real estate. She was like, why haven't you done it? If you are a real estate agent, Beaux, you'd be the best one.
Yeah.
Well, I've been trying to take these classes online and, you know, I don't have time and this and that, you know, she goes, sounds like you want to sell cars for the rest of your life. I'm like, damn, she hit me again. So I couldn't hear it, right?
I love her already.
Yeah.
I don't know her that well. I just know
Oh,
her.
yeah.
But, I mean,
I have goosebumps talking
sounds
about
like
it.
my kind of gal.
So my
Telling
wife
it like it is.
paid for my real estate classes. And she said, look, here it is. You know, if you really want to be that guy, go do it. But if you don't want to do it, then I understand who you are. Damn, girl. She hit me again. So I went.
And she's super fine.
She's awesome.
Gorgeous.
She's
So you better
she's
you
awesome.
better take those classes and you better get
She's
serious.
been at United Healthcare 18 years. She's the VP of sales for United. So she
boss.
She knows something about progression. She knows something about, you know, commitment. She knows, you know, when I see her, you know, career path, she's been there 18 years. She's a committed person, right? And she, you know, she didn't just wake up at the top. I've seen her. So in an effort for me to, you know, I did not measure up, but I was like, man, I can do this. You know, like, you know, all you work hard, you know, you do what you say you're going to do. And I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my wife really, really, really motivated me. Thank you, baby. I love you. Like, I'm going to give you your flowers. Like, you are my dude. But
Having a supportive spouse who really pushes you to be the best version of you, honestly, it makes all of the difference. It really does.
yes,
I think it makes a difference between good and great, you know?
Yeah. So I got into real estate school. I knocked it out in 6 weekends. I went 8:30 to 4:45, Saturday, Sunday for 6 weeks in a row. You know, I got it knocked out. When I was getting out of the car business, my wife said, she goes, hey, babe, you've never like had a normal schedule, right? She said, hey, Beaux, why don't you take the next 6 months off, okay? And just go be regular. Like, do your real estate and, you know, hang out, do what you would do. I just want you to just calm down. All you do is hustle, hustle. I'm like, damn, you want me to take 6 months off and you're going to pay for all my stuff?
This is a wow. Okay. She really believed in you.
I said, thank you.
Yeah.
But hell no. Like, who the hell do you think I am? You know, I got homies who will jump on that. Well,
Yes.
no homies anymore. I'm like, 6 months. The fact that you offered that to me shows me how much you care and you believe in me.
Yes.
And how much you know exactly what I needed. But damn, who do you think I am just to be sitting in your apartment 6 months, you going to work?
Yeah.
And I'm just at the house and I'm just running around with the guys. Like, the fuck? Excuse me. No, yeah, what the fuck? Like, not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but thank you. So I was like, she does care about me. I can't mess this up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've never had.
I mean, that's quite an offer.
That is quite an offer. And I don't know if she thought I was going to take
That many
the offer.
wouldn't refuse.
Yeah, I don't know if she thought I was going to take the offer, but then I took that personal again.
Yes.
You know, I was like, okay.
That was a test.
Yeah.
That was a
I
test.
was like, okay.
She's a smart woman.
6 months, huh? You know, I said, all right, babe. I went and got that. Then I started doing real estate part-time while I was working somewhere else. Then she also said, hey, babe, I know you're enjoying it, but nobody takes a part-time realtor seriously. I said, damn.
This is true.
You know, and she goes, babe, I just want to let you know, you're good and you sell to your friends here and there. Well, I got his little job.
I don't really care how nice you are, but like, I'm not going to go to a part-time doctor. Correct. I'm not going to go to a part-time lawyer.
So she said, baby, nobody takes a part-time, realtor seriously. So I quit my other job, you know, and I faced it. I worked at, a low voltage company, and I had my license while I was working there. But I didn't want to tell any of the sales counselors that I had my real estate license because I didn't want it to be like a conflict of interest. Like,
right.
You know, I didn't want them to feel obligated to throw me on a deal.
Right.
I didn't want to get fired.
And so that viewers understand. So you're at Home Pro at this point, and so this is where you go if you're building a new construction home.
Correct.
Well, you'll go and you will do your consultation to get all of your low voltage and everything done in your house, your speakers, your wiring, where you're putting your outlets, where you're putting your lights, all of the things, which is great knowledge for you because now you're understanding a huge part of the new construction process.
And I fell in love with the process. I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, I can do this.
Right.
I would see some realtors that would come in there and do nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they can pay that much? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay. Then I just kind of learned. And when she hit me with that, you know, nobody takes a part-time realtor seriously. I put my, she helped me schedule, my vacation so I can use them all up. And she helped me like calculate when I need to quit, and all that. So I can, train the next person so I can leave them.
I had no idea that she was such a huge part of your journey into real estate.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give her a credit. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So she kind of like, this is what we're going to do, baby. You got this. Whenever you get this going, baby, nobody's going to stop you because you have the personality, you have the drive, you have the, and she kind of just built me up, and like I said, I couldn't unhear it. Yeah. Right? I'm like, okay, you believe in me, I believe in me. To us together, we got this. So I jumped in it, Sarah. I jumped in it. I left that company, and I went back to tell all the most of the sales counselors I used to work with when I was there. Hey guys, I no longer work there. However, if you guys need anything, I'm still your guy because I'm the one that sold all this stuff into you.
Right.
However, I got my real estate license now. Why didn't you say something? I was like, I didn't want to get in trouble, this and that.
Yeah.
So that's how I now have all the relationships with the new construction and, I fell in love with the build process. I fell in love with new homes because I had done it, and I had seen the process and I kind of knew most of it. So combining, my background and my personality and, my wife's push and her belief in me, there was no room for me to fail. It was not an option.
It is a very special kind of gamble risk that you take when you decide to go from having a job and a paycheck, right? To jumping into entrepreneurship like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you are taking a chunk of very valuable time and you were like, I'm going to bet on myself.
Yeah.
And 90% of people fail, so the odds are really stacked against you.
Yeah.
And you are the only person who can be accountable for this. So it's a really gutsy move. And I think that a lot of people take that for granted, which is why a lot of them, they can't fully let go. They can't take the full gamble on themselves, and they don't leave the 9 to 5, and they try to be the part-time realtor.
Well. My 9 to 5 paid well.
Yes,
they give me flexibility. They were like, "Boss, as long as you keep selling, like we're good. You're not a liability. You're an asset. Like do your thing." And I was like, man, I was getting paid, but I was like, man, the guy who owns this company, how did he start?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I use other people's success as motivation. I'm like. I'm getting pennies on the dollar, but I'm out here doing the work, so I'm like, I want to go start my own thing. I'm going to go and believe in myself and go do this real estate thing. And I'm going to give it my all, anything worth doing is worth doing well. And I was like, you know what? I'll be doing myself and my future a disservice if I didn't go all in. So I did. And I focused on the relationships I had built for the last 20 something years since I've been in this country. And I just stayed there.
Yeah.
I just stayed in my lane and I'm like, you know what? I want to work with people who've known me. I want to know people who know my character. I want to work with people who I don't have to sell myself to.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a huge challenge for people who are not people,
Yeah.
right? And they get into this business and they're like, I got to buy leads. I got to buy, and it's like, that's not what this business is about.
No.
If you were putting all of your energy into establishing this rapport, with this cold person who knows nothing about you, that's a really tough thing to do.
Yeah, the leads run out when the money runs out.
Yeah,
and I tell people, I'm like, hey, you want to sell a house, go make a friend.
Exactly.
When back in the car business, my old boss, Cade Simpson, one of my best friends now, he told me one day I was struggling selling cars, and he called me into his office. He goes, Beau, calm down. I said, what do you mean? Just calm down, bro. He goes, you're trying to sell cars. He goes, you need to go make a friend. That's what you're good at. And I was like, he goes,
you see all these nuggets?
Yeah.
All these nuggets for Beau. I swear.
Quit selling cars. He goes, go make a friend. He goes, when people fall in love with you and they see that you know your shit and they see that you're good and they see your personality, they'll buy the car. Mm-hmm. And I switched my mindset.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I am going to go make a friend.
Because nobody likes that pushy salesman. Nobody likes that.
But I wanted to be relevant, with my girlfriend, Lindsay. We turned to my wife. That was then when we just met. I'm like, she's doing this and she's doing that. Like, I got to sell 25 cars a month. Then I became like, you could, I call it commission breath.
You could smell the desperation.
You can smell the desperation. Yes. I had commission breath, like I just wanted to sell.
Yeah.
And he slowed me down. He was like, go make a friend, bro. That's what you're good at. And when people fall in love with you and your process, it'll be tough for them to tell you no.
Yeah.
And I took that. And I'm giving this credit, Kate. Thank you. Even though when we first met, we didn't get up, I hope you see
Usually
this.
it's like that. Usually it's the enemies that become friends because you see yourself in that person. And so you're hard on them. Yeah.
So bringing it all to the real estate thing now, it's like, you know what? Do I know what I'm talking about? Do people trust me? Am I reliable? Am I, am I forward thinking? Do I blend in with the rest of them? What makes me stick out? So those are the things that I think about, with every opportunity is like, why me?
Yeah.
Is my question to myself and to the person trying to hire me.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that.
Why me?
And I hope we got that on camera because that was really, I have never heard that approach before where instead of telling, a potential client, all of the reasons why they should hire you, you kind of let them tell you why they're even taking the time to meet you, why they called you to that appointment that day. And, they kind of through them verbalizing, let me think about that. Why did I call you here? Oh, because I like your marketing. I like your style. You have a good reputation.
Yeah. And it's not arrogant.
Yeah.
It's not, but it just makes the money talk a lot easier.
Yes.
Because now you've itemized my value, and I don't have to say it because when I have to say it, it sounds bragging. It sounds like I'm bragging.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing better than a third party validation.
Yeah.
You're the one that's,
I struggle with that a lot actually. And my husband gets on me all the time and he's like, you never talk about yourself or your value. I have a really hard time doing that.
I don't like it.
And I'm like, I'm humble. And he's like, no, you're stupid. He's like, you don't talk about all of the reasons why
my wife
you're
tells
here.
me that.
Yeah.
My wife's like, talk about it. People got to hear that.
But I'm not that person.
Not either.
But you're right. Flip it. Have them tell you. And then you're not the one who's boasting.
Yeah. So when it's time to talk, money, I'm like, well, I'm going to, I tell people I'm going to work hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to answer my phone and I'm going to work hard because I take it personal because I know you had options.
Exactly. So many options, right? So many options. Let me ask you this.
Do they though?
I mean, not good ones. We got a lot of options for shoes, but they're not all pretty. So portfolio real estate, I want to know a little bit more about that journey because I think that when we met, I think you were with a different brokerage, and now you've got what I would call like a boutique real estate brand, but it's kind of become a household name. People see it, they recognize it, it's familiar, they associate it with you.
Yeah.
So the brand recognition is great. Tell me a little bit about portfolio and about your team. And why you even started a team. Let's get into the team talk.
This
is something that I have gone through the ringer with when it comes to building a team, and I really want to know what your perspective is and what your goals are.
Yeah, why did I start portfolio? So at first, I wanted to create a one-stop shop approach, to real estate. My mindset is, I want my clients to treat me like Google. I want my clients to ask me questions where you can be like, damn, look that up,
Yeah.
right? But I want them to ask me that.
Yeah.
Because
you're the pro.
I'm the guy.
Yeah.
I want to be my client's guy. You know, I want them to ask me for where to go to restaurants, what carpenter to use, what, you know, I want them to ask me all this stuff. So that's how portfolio first came about. I wanted to offer a portfolio of services more than just real estate. But before that, you know, I named it Beaux and Companies. If you see the portfolio, you know, it's P and it's kind of like broken. It was flipped. It was a B and a C. Beaux and Companies.
Stop. Wow.
So I was like, at some point in time, you know, I may or may not want to sell this company. You know, I may, you know, but I don't want my name out there for the rest of the existence of the company.
Why not? You've got your Allie Beths and your Douglas Ellimans and all of your names.
I don't want to be like them.
You didn't want to be like them.
I want to be me. You know, I want to create. I'm like, I don't want Beaux. I want to, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to sell.
Yeah.
But I hope the conversation comes up in the next 5 or 10 years where I get to be like, damn, we're there.
You didn't want it to be necessarily about you.
Correct.
Right?
I didn't want my name all over the place. I don't want, you know, so I was like, talking to my wife, and we're like, how about portfolio? You know, portfolio real estate group, you know, like.
And that wasn't used? It's such a good name.
Yeah. I was like, it was a portfolio, you know, portfolio of services. So I was like, okay, in terms of branding, I'm like, I'm just going to flip it.
Yeah.
You know, from the B and the C, you know, to just the P, you know, so I kept the same brand. So it was a very easy transition. And, but I want my clients to look up to me, look at me for everything real estate related and lifestyle related. You know, I want to stay relevant. You know, I work with people I know anyways. This is something I've done before I got into real estate anyways. You know, ask Beaux, what do you need? Ask Beaux.
Yeah.
Beaux probably knows somebody.
He knows somebody who
you know,
can take care of this.
So I was like,
yeah.
you know what, let's make this thing official. You know, so the portfolio is like, you know, I have a lot of people that I work with that I own businesses, and I want to be able to plug people, right? Not just people that I know, but people who are best at their space. I don't work with everybody, you know, but the portfolio thing is like, you know what? I wanna be a part of people's lives past the sale.
Past the transaction.
You know,
yeah.
I feel like, you know, the work starts when you close.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
You know, because a lot of realtors.
This is just the beginning of our lifelong relationship.
Yeah, the work starts after you've gotten paid. I feel like the most important person in the whole equation is the person who's already paid you.
Yeah.
Not the new business. This person's already in my Chase account. Okay, and their expectation is for me to leave them alone. You know.
Yeah.
Till 5 years later, when I send a random letter, hey, it's time for you to sell. You know, no, I don't want to be that guy because I've seen that.
Yeah.
You know.
And you find it if you treat. You don't need that many if you treat them that way.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like you have to like them. You have to like those people, right?
You have to turn I tell my agent on my team, and we'll get back to the agent. I bought them this book called Raving Fans, and I sent each of them a book, and I had them read it. And 2 weeks later, we came back and we kind of talked about what we learned from it. You know, because when I read the book, I was like, oh my God, when you turn someone into a raving fan, you don't need to buy leads. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're your lead generator. And they're not just for business. Like, I'm raving fans of people, and they can't do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm a raving fan of yours.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I bought this book, really easy reading book. My team read it, and I think it changed that dynamic on how they think. Because
I like this. I gotta do this. This is fun.
Like, I would buy that book. It's $14 on Amazon, paperback. You know, it's an easy read. You know, you can read it on, you know, Audible, but it kind of changes that client approach to like a raving fan approach. Like, you know, like when they hear the word real estate, oh, you gotta call Beaux. I don't give a damn that your cousin just got his license. Good for him, but you gotta call Beaux. That's what I'm trying to teach the agents on my team how to run their business and their life, because when you turn someone into a raving fan, it's really difficult.
So when did you decide? So you're doing your own thing. Did you always want to have a team and to be the mentor? So what made you decide that you wanted to? Because it is no easy feat having a successful team.
It's not.
There's a lot of ups and downs.
Oh, a lot of.
And I never intended to have a team either. I was like, I'm Beyonce. I've got my own thing going on. I don't need nobody. You know what I mean? But then I realized that I could not clone me to be in a million places at once, and my business was growing. And then I also realized that there were some people who I really, saw some great potential in, and I'm like, if they could just, if I can just give them a little bit of wisdom, it can take them so far. But man, boy, have I struggled. I've been let down and hurt quite a bit in this team building situation. So tell me a little bit about your experience. What made you want to do it, and where are you now?
What made me want to do it is, April 1st, 2021 is when I started Portfolio Real Estate Group. The reason why I wanted to do it, I wanted freedom, and I wanted to give people an opportunity to do things the right way, right? There's only one Beaux, right? And there's only one Sarah. But I was like, you know what? I want to be around my kids,
Yep.
When Vanessa was born, I wasn't around. When Bryn was born, I was just running around trying to figure it out, Then I was like,
how old is Bryn?
She'll be 8 in November.
So you were hustling.
I was hustling.
Yeah.
I missed all the important stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
I have it in me, about making all these excuses of work. Everybody works.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I wanted an opportunity where I could be there. I missed some important parts of my kids' upbringing, that is still something that I beat myself up about a lot, And
in that moment, you feel like it is the most important thing in the world to take that phone call and cater to that client and run out and do that showing, because if you don't, that paycheck's not coming. And it's like, it's okay if I didn't go to their play, or it's okay. This is not a big deal.
I'm working.
Nothing's more important than this phone call. Then you look back and you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
There was nothing more important than that performance, where they were dressed up as an apple or whatever, waddling around the stage, and you miss it, and it eats away at you later on. It really does.
Even now, I think I'm overcompensating right now with my, my third, bond, because I'm like, I want to do it. I just, it's everything that I've ever wanted, So creating a team was not, not to make money. It was for me to be like, hey, you want an opportunity? I want 50% of this money.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You go do it. Call me with questions. I want to project manage from a distance.
Yes.
Where we can go on vacation and I'm not worried about looking at leads to sell a car. I'm not, I want to be able to, you know what? You go get it.
Yeah.
You go grow.
But that's a
call
really,
me with questions.
That's a tough thing to do, because now you've got these clients who they want Beaux.
My VIPs. I work my VIPs.
Yeah.
I work my VIPs.
They trust you, or even
Sorry,
they got no. It's okay.
You got me over here crying on a damn Wednesday morning.
But it's hard to relinquish that control, I find, and then to trust someone that is going to put all of that, because you're like me. When we've got this client and they are trusting us with this home buying process or this home selling process, they are the world to us, and we want to do everything that we would expect and way more, right? For these people. And so now you've got to trust that somebody from your team that you've trained them well enough, they're going to treat them like they are family, like they are the number one priority. And how do you ensure that they're going to behave that way, right? How much training do you do?
I'll be honest with you, it's the toughest part of the business is having a team.